All right, good afternoon. Welcome back to the interview room here at Little Caesars Arena as we continue to preview the 2024 Midwest Regional. We're pleased to be joined with the Tennessee Volunteers. Fellas, congratulations on reaching the Sweet 16 here in Detroit. We're joined from your left to your right by Jonas Aidoo, Dalton Knecht, and Jahmai Mashack. We will open the floor for a Q&A here shortly, but just as a reminder, please make sure you are silencing your cell phones, speaking directly into a microphone. We do have mic holders on either side of the room, so we can appropriately transcribe the press conferences via ASAP Sports. With that, we'll jump straight into the Q&A for the student athletes, starting with Larry on the left.
Dalton, can you reflect on your journey from junior college, Northern Colorado, and now you're here, and you hope that maybe you're an inspiration to high school players that aren't, showered with a lot of offers, or people who are thinking about transferring up?
Yeah, I'd say I made a lot of people's. There's some people are not the highest rated players and stuff like that, and it just shows like you go a different route, going JUCO and stuff, and like you said, hitting the transfer portal, I hit that too. So, you can make multiple ways to get to one of the best programs in the nation. So, I think it just shows that you don't have to be the highest rated kid.
Second row on the left.
Jahmai, I asked you last week after the game in Charlotte, did it feel different? Did it feel like Orlando last year? Can you compare the team's feeling today compared to the day before we played in New York last year? Level of confidence, level of preparedness.
I've always been a confident player. I feel like everybody on our team last year and this year has always been confident. So I wouldn't say the confidence level was different. I would just say probably, I think the fact is, like, we're healthier. We're healthier. We have people able to play. We have people available. We have more depth. And I just think we are going into it knowing that nothing has to change. We don't have to adjust anything. We don't have to do anything different than what we've been doing all year, which I feel like is important for us as a team. It's just making sure that we're all on the same page. And the fact that we've gotten this whole year to grow and to come together and to really learn each other's game and really be comfortable with that, I think it's just going to go to show as we play more games and as we get to where we are now, that it's all going to come together in big moments like this.
Flip it over the right side in the first row.
And off of the Vols media dome, I wanted to add on to that, as kind of a high school underdog athlete, if you could go back 5 years and tell that version of yourself with 0 offers, one thing, what would you say?
I'll just say, stay in the gym as much as you can. You'll chase your dream, and everything will happen for a reason. Hard work pays off. That's one thing I'd say. Hard work pays off.
Additional questions for the student athletes, please. Go back to the first row.
I guess for all of you, kind of coming full circle from the beginning of the season to now, you grow on the court, but off the court, as young men, you grow as well. You're student athletes. How would you say you've grown the most off the court? What has the season taught you?
Let's start with Jonas on that one, please.
I'd say from the Italy trip, that's when we truly started to bond off the court because, we spent so much time with each other, and in other countries, just learning about each other. So I feel like from there on, we just kept growing into brothers for real from there.
Dalton?
Yeah, I would say for me it was when I first got on campus, all these guys, like Zakai and stuff, we'd all go get food and stuff and created that bond early. And then when everyone got on campus, we was all, playing video games or going out and getting food or just staying in the locker room after practice.
And Jahmai?
I just think, I think just the bond of having the tough games that really showed our competitive spirit, and I think the tough practices as well. When you have different games like that, it really builds and it shows a team's true character, and it brings your teammates together. And I think that's what happened to us throughout the season. Obviously, we started really well. We had a really good season overall, but there were certain games and certain stretches where, we were still trying to get to know our teammates and our strengths and our weaknesses. And I think going through those games really helped us trust each other more on and off the court. And I feel like if you have that bond off the court, on the court, it's going to be, extremely easy. So I think with that being said, this whole year has just been a journey for everybody. And I think, we wouldn't take it back for anything. And this is why we want to keep continuing to get farther and farther in this tournament, just to justify what we went through this whole year and that it was worth it. So I think just showing how those losses and how those close games and those tough games really build character and really build togetherness.
Back to the first row here on the right side, Larry.
Can each of you share with me one thing that has jumped out from the scouting report or watching film from Creighton that has your respect?
We'll go right down the line here, Jonas first.
We know they're a really good offensive team, and they like to get up a lot of threes. So, we got to take pride as being the best defensive team in the nation, which we believe we are, and just locking on that side of the scouting report.
Dalton.
Yeah, like Jonas said, they're a great offensive team, but also they make sure that they don't foul and get teams to the foul line. So that'll definitely be something that we'll need to watch out for.
And then Jahmai.
I think they both made really great points. Definitely a high offensive team that wants to get a lot of threes up, wants to get out and run. And like DK said, they don't want to foul. They kind of want to stay back. They don't want to force a lot of turnovers. They just want to kind of force you into a short shot clock. But I think the thing that's going to give us the edge on the game is what Jonas said is taking pride in our defense. And whether we're hitting shots or not, if our defense is where it's supposed to be, we can create offense in transition, where I feel like that's where we're the best at is getting out in transition, creating easy layups, getting to the foul line. And I think, as much as they've had, their tall center down low, being able to feed Jonas the ball and being able to feed our big guys the ball, just trying to get them points and maybe get him in foul trouble, but just trying to use everybody on the court and space the floor out and really just, run our offense.
Let's go back to the left side in the second row.
Westbrook 24/7 Sports. Jonas, when you kind of study Kalkbrenner, their big guy on film, sort of what have you seen from him, and what have you learned from some of your matchups this season against some of those sort of really big guys that you played?
I watched. He's pretty big. He's about 7'1", 7'2", 270. Pretty much every single, big in the nation that's really top rated. So I feel like I've, prepared for this moment, just to help my team, lock in defensively and offensively on the scouting report.
Any other questions for these guys? Okay, seeing none. Thanks, fellas. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, guys. All right, welcome back. We're wrapping up today's press conference with Tennessee head coach Rick Barnes. Coach, thanks for joining us. Welcome to Detroit. As a reminder, we do have mic holders on either side. Please be sure to introduce yourself, your media affiliation, so Coach can put a name with a face. We'll get going with Q&A here, and we'll start out with whoever's ready in the second row on the right.
Rob Lewis with VolQuest.com. Coach, just the scout, what are a couple of things that jump out at you that are primary focuses when you get ready to play Creighton?
Well, there's a number of different things. Obviously, one, transition. They're a really terrific team in transition. Discipline, really have, I think, a high level of basketball IQ, and they know each other so well. They know what they're looking for. They know play within the rhythm of what they do, and just an extremely sound team defensively, and they do a great job of helping each other. And I've known Greg for a long time, and coaching against him in the Big 12, and just a terrific basketball coach. And his team, I think, plays the way he wants them to play.
Thanks, Coach. We're going to go to left side in the second row.
Yeah, Coach Gentry, Estes, Tennessee. And Coach McDermott told a story about when he first was deciding to take the job at Creighton, that he called you on the way to the interview. Do you remember that conversation and what you talked about at that time?
Well, one thing I'll tell you about Greg is that he's a program builder, and really, truly a great offensive mind. I would, after every time we played him, I would take something from what he did to us and add to what we were doing. And but I'm sure the conversation would have been one that everybody would want him in the league because he stands for all the right things. He's done it the way that you'd want any coach to do it. He's a guy that could coach at any level, and again, when you're in a league that's as competitive as the leagues are that we've played in, you want to know that the person that you're competing against is doing it the right way. And you knew he would do that. You knew he would build a high-level program, and I think he did that. And he has done it certainly at Creighton and everywhere he's been. And you ask anybody that's in coaching today about him, they would have the utmost respect for him, obviously as a basketball coach, but as a person that represents our business the way you want it, you can't find one better.
Do we have follow-up here in the second row? No. Okay.
Wes Rucker with 24/7 Sports. Rick, when you look at Kalkbrenner, the big guy for Creighton, what sort of challenges does he present, and how much of that experience that your guys have had against some of those, I think every elite big man in the country, pretty much y'all have played this season, how much could that help?
Well, again, he's a terrific rim protector. I think he's when they use him on the offensive end where he facilitates, he sees the floor. He great feel for his teammates and what he wants to do. I think he does a really good job of finding his space where he wants to be effective. And we've played against players like you mentioned, but they're all different. And he's a tough cover for our post players, but yet and they obviously their drop coverage that they use. I mean, he's just kind of daring you. What are you going to do here? Forces you into making the right decision. And but he's a person that you've got to give a lot of attention to.
Coach, let's go to the front row here.
Larry Leach from the Associated Press. Seemed like yesterday you were here for the exhibition game against Michigan State. Can you talk about Baylor Shireman? Give us a scouting report. And with him and Dalton, are they an example of what can be good about the transfer portal?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question that, you give young people an opportunity and they can make the most of it. And I think we know there's players, and this tournament you see players that play at different levels that can shine when the big light's on them. And I think both of those guys have made just unbelievable impacts on their teams. And Shireman, when you see him, he's relentless. You can't stop. I mean, he's got a great feel. And again, Greg has done a great job, I think, putting all those guys in a position where they have a comfort level about them. But they play a lot of minutes. They don't foul. But he is another guy that if you just blink for a second, he's going to beat you some way. And so you've got to be on edge.
Let's go to on the left side in the back row, Coach.
Dana O'Neill at The Athletic. Rick, you talked about program builders, and I would argue that probably all four of you guys here are program builders, but you're also in a business of results. And whether it's trying to get to the Final Four, win a national championship, there's always that push-pull. How do you stick to your convictions to kind of build the program when there's also the need to achieve whatever it is the next thing on the to-do list is?
Well, I think obviously the key is adjustments. You know, when the game changes, you've got to change and make the necessary adjustments. But we do believe in building through, you know, we want high school players. And now if I were at a different level, I might not think that today. I think a year from now when the COVID year is over with, it could sway back a little bit where the older guys aren't here as much, you know, not as many older guys. But I think that's been the case throughout our time in basketball, is that there's been so many different changes from, you know, everything. And so I think you have to be able to adapt. And the guys that I know that I've been able to grow up in the business with and that are still with us and doing it are guys that have that ability to adapt but yet not get away from their core philosophy in terms of what they believe.
Coach, we're going to go to the right side here in the fourth row.
Rick Rousseau, WVLT Knoxville. Coach, I know the fellas want to win for you. What does it mean to you to see them have success?
Well, again, I'm fortunate that, you know, I've been able to be a part of college basketball for a long time. They get a 4 or 5 year run, and it is something that that they will look back one day and think that, hey, you know, I had a chance to be a part of that, and it's something that you never ever take for granted. And to get here is hard. It's getting harder and harder every year, and to move is. I mean, we know that every seed has proven they could win, and it's hard to move on. But I love it for our players. We've got a good group of guys, and a year ago they found a way to get to the Sweet 16 without Zakai. And as coaches, we do what we do for the players, and we appreciate when they do what we ask them to do as well. And when you get a group of guys that have bought into each other and are willing to play for each other, you want to see it last as long as it possibly can.
Back to the left side in the third row.
Yeah, Rick, did y'all come out okay health-wise from Charlotte, and is Santi good to go tomorrow?
Yeah, he's just under the weather a little bit right now, but we expect him to be ready, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right side, row 2.
Coach, what makes Creighton's kind of drop defense unique, and how do you avoid getting, you know, caught into that trap of taking a bunch of mid-range shots?
Well, we don't care about we do what we do. We're going to do. I mean, we're not based strictly on analytics. We're going to get our players in position. If they're good mid-range shooters, we want them to take those shots. And what makes them good is because they're solid. They do what they do. They're a team that they don't foul. We don't, believe me, I don't think there's a team in the country that teaches to foul. And, you know, we don't want to foul either. We want to play a little bit different than they do, but yet we're not trying to foul, I can tell you that, because, I mean, they're a good shooting team, a free throw shooting team, but there's so many different ways you can play defense, just like there's so many different ways you can play offense, and they've got their style that's gotten them here, we have, and you can pretty much expect both teams are going to do what they do that has gotten them this far.
Back to the left side in the fourth row.
Rick, you hear the term players coach today, just the idea of, you know, coaches having a stronger relationship with their players. How have you evolved as a coach in terms of how you relate to your guys throughout your career?
Well, one, I've always known it's about them, and there's times in the past I didn't do a great job, and I've said many times I've gone back and apologized to players that I didn't think I did my job with them. But I think if you ask our players today, it would bother me if they didn't tell you I was the most consistent guy on the floor every day. And I'm going to do my job, but when it's over with, we're two people, and I'm going to respect them for that. But I hope they respect the job as a coaching staff we have to do. And again, I think the best thing a coach can do is consistency every day. Whatever it is you're demanding with your details, you got to stay with that. But when it's over with, you want them to know that, hey, if you've been on them hard, hey, there's a reason behind it. And but I don't want them to ever not look forward to coming back to practice, not looking forward to coming back to with our individual workouts, whatever it may be. And it goes back, it's not just me, it's our staff. I mean, we're constantly talking, our staff. We have a great feel for our team. And when you're around people as much as we're around each other, you can read body language, you can read where guys are. And the question is, to me, is transparency. You got to confront it head on. You just can't think it's going to go away if there is a problem. But a lot of it goes back to our staff. I just have a great group of guys around me that are as fully invested as you can possibly be.
Anything else for Coach Barnes? Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll see you tomorrow.